grade into math lesson or module 12 lesson 1. Represent tenths as fractions and decimals. I can use a visual model and decimal notation to represent fractions, mixed numbers, and decimals in tenths. Spark your learning. The diagram shows the heights of a plant at the end of each of 3 weeks. After week 1, the plant is 3/10 meter tall. Another way to represent the height is 0.3 or 3/10 meter. Both 3/10 and 0.3 or 3/10 can be read as 3/10. They represent 3 parts of 10 equal parts of a whole. How can you represent the heights of the plant at the end of each week with a visual model? How can you label the heights of the plant on a number line in 2 different ways? Okay, so what did they say that's broken into? What's our denominator? Tenths, right? So we need to break this line into 10 pieces. So here is, this would be 5/10, right? Or 0.5. And then this would be 2/10, right? Or 0. So these are going to be our other different things. Okay, and now they want 3/10. So that would be 3 over, right? And then if I write 3/10 as a decimal, I put 0.3, and then I need 7, I would go 2 more over and write 0.7. So we don't have one whole yet, right? So when we write the decimal, we put a 0 because we don't have a whole yet. Decimal, and then tenths goes 1 place after the decimal. Build understanding number 1. One of the tomatoes from the garden is 1 1/10 pounds. Represent the weight of the tomato on a tenth bottle and on a number line. Okay, so in the visual model, do we have one whole in our mixed number? Yes, we do. So we're going to shade this whole thing in lightly. Okay, and then the other whole is broken into how many pieces? 10, right? How many of those do we need to shade in? 1, right? So then I'm going to shade in 1 of those. Okay, now we went all the way to this one hole, right, guys? Okay, but how many pieces does the next hole need to be cut into or broken into? 10, right? So we're going to do like what we did on the other side, and then this will be half for 5, right? And then we need to get our 10 tack marks in between there, right? Or 10 spaces. Okay, now how many tack marks from 1 do I need to go over? Okay, now guys, I said 10 tack marks, okay? Is there actually 10 lines that I drew? No, because here would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And my 10th one lands on 2, correct? Okay, now we have 1 1/10. So where do I need to put a dot at? What tack mark after 1? 1. The first one, right? So I'm going to draw a little dot here and label that as 1 1/10. Okay, so letter A, we're going to talk about how did you represent 1 1/10 on the 10th model. So with the picture they already have drawn for us, what did we do? We colored in 1 hole and then 1 piece of the next hole, right? Okay. Then how did you locate the weight of the tomato on the number line? What did we have to do? We had to break the second hole into 10 pieces, right? And then this whole thing would have been up to 1, right? And then we had to use 1/10 of the next one. Okay, letter C. A real quick vocabulary. A tenth is 1 of 10 equal sized parts. A decimal point is a dot that separates the 1st place from the 10th place in a decimal is a number that has one or more digits to the right of the decimal point. And when we're doing tenths goes one place past the decimal, right? Okay. So how can you represent 1 1/10 pounds using digits and a decimal point? Okay, so my whole numbers go in front of the decimal, right? So what is my whole number? 1. So I'm going to have 1 decimal, and then how many tenths do I have? 1. So I'm going to write 1 decimal 1 pounds. Okay, number 2. The tenths model shows how many cups of water Tina uses to water a tomato plant. Write a sentence to describe the amount of water Tina uses. Let's talk about that. Okay, so how many blocks do I have? 3. How many are fully colored in? 2. And then how many of the third one are colored in? 8 of 10, right? Okay, so letter B. How can you write the amount of water that Tina uses as a mixed number and as a decimal? So how many full boxes did you tell me were colored in? 2. So I'm going to do that as my whole number, and then now I have to do a fraction. So a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction together, correct? Yes. All right, so then how many pieces did you tell me that those are broken into? 10. So that's going to be my denominator. And then how many did you tell me of that third one were colored in? 8. That's going to be my numerator. Okay, now we need to write that as a decimal. So where does the whole number go? In front or behind the decimal? In front. So what's my whole number? 2. 2 are fully colored in, decimal, and then one place after the decimal gives me tenths. So does that take care of my denominator in my fraction? Yes. And then what number is in my numerator? 8. So I can write 2 and 8 tenths as a mixed number, which I did for my first part, or I can write it as a decimal, which I did for my second part. Check understanding number 1. Do plant each tomato plant 6 tenths of a meter apart. Represent the distance on the tenths model and the number line. So how many pieces am I going to color in of that box? 6. So I'm going to color in 6 lines. Okay, now on the number line, I don't have a hole yet, right? So they have 0 to 1. Okay, how many pieces do I need to break that number line into? 10. Okay, so I need to draw a line in the middle, and that's my 5th line. And then I need to break it apart by drawing 4 lines on each side of the one I put in the middle, correct? Yeah. Okay, so, and then of course my 10th spot is the 1, right? So if I count this, I should have 10 check marks, including the 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So did I break that apart correctly? Yes. Okay, now they want me to represent 6 tenths. So how many places over from the 0 do I need to go? 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there is 6 tenths. So write the distance as a decimal. So do I have a whole number? No. No. So I put what there? 0, because I don't have a whole number. Decimal. And then what comes after the decimal? 6. Because there's 6 pieces of the whole number. Number 2, write the amount shown as a mixed number and as a decimal. So how many of these blocks do I have completely colored in? 3. So that is my whole number. Then that last block, or all of these blocks, are broken into how many pieces? 10. And how many of those 10 pieces are colored in? 5. So then to go and write this as a decimal, do I have whole ones colored in? Do I have a whole number in my fraction or mixed number? Yes. So that has to go before the decimal, right? So 3 decimal, and then we're in the 10th spot, decimal y, and we go 1 after the decimal. So that already covers our denominator, correct? Yes. Okay, because the place value. And then how many are colored in? What's our numerator? 5. So I'd have 3 and 5 tenths, or 3.5. On your own, number 3 says, hydroponics is a way of growing plants in water rather than soil. The nutrients that plants need to grow are put into the water. Tanya designs a hydroponic system and fills the reservoir with 8/10 gallons of water. Use the 10th funnel to show the amount of water in the reservoir. Okay, so they were nice enough, took that box and already broke it into 10 pieces for us, correct? Okay, so how many am I going to color of that? 8. So I'm going to color all but 2 of it. Remember, lightly shade it so you can still see the lines. Okay, so write the amount of water as a decimal. So do I have a full box colored in? No. So what do I put before the decimal? 0, because I do not have any full boxes colored in. So I write 0 decimal. How many lines or segments did I color in? 8. So 8/10 or 0.8. Okay. Number 4, Liz plants 1 and 6/10 packs of tomato seeds. On the number line, show the amount of packs of seeds that Liz plants. Okay, so do we have a whole number? Yes. Okay. And then what do we need to break the pieces apart into? 10, right? So I'm going to put for 5 in the middle, right? And if it helps you, make that a little darker or something for you to indicate that that's halfway, okay? And then I need to break it apart with 4 more little lines on each side of the first one that I did, okay? Remember, try your best to get as even as you can, okay? And then what do we need to mark? So I have to go to 1 for sure, right? Because I have 1 as my whole number. How many little lines past 1 do I need to go? 6. So how many little tack marks do we need to go after the 1? 6. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it also looks like they leave a little box there. Is that just through the paper? That just must be through the paper. So then I'm going to mark it as 1 and 6/10. Correct? Yes. Okay. All right, so now I want us to write that as a decimal. Do I have a whole number? Yes, I do. So what is my whole number? 1. And then decimal. And then we're in the 10th spot, so that covers our denominator for us. But what is our numerator? 6. Number 5, write the amount shown as a mixed number and as a decimal. Do I have any boxes that are completely colored in? Yes. How many? 2. Then that last box that is not completely colored in is broken into how many pieces? 10. And how many are colored in? 9. So remember, the broken up pieces are the denominator and the colored in pieces are the numerator, right? Now to write this as a decimal, do I have a whole number or some boxes that are completely colored in? Yes. How many? 2. So the whole number always has to go on the left side of the decimal. Then after the decimal, I can put the small pieces that are colored in, and we're already in the 10th spot, so that has me covered. How many are colored in? 9. So 2.9 or 2 9/10 can be written that way.